Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great solar eclipse day. Once again, you're here for Bleeding Cool's recap of Preacher Season 2. Today we're going to be going over Episode 9, Puzzle Piece, ahead of Monday night's 10th episode, Dirty Little Secrets. Again, like we usually do, going to start off with overall takeaway, then kind of give you a recap, sort of thoughts, random things about what I saw in the episode. I do have to own up to something. I said I wouldn't do it. I don't know if because it's the eclipse. I don't know if it's because it's try something different Tuesday. I don't know, but I'm actually, let me look down. Yeah, I'm wearing a Preacher shirt during a recap. So I am technically that guy from PCU that Jeremy Piven was talking about. But anywho, I got my handy dandy a yellow this time. We're going a little fancy this time, just to keep the notes fresh, just to make sure that I'm giving you the information that you need. Overall takeaway for Puzzle Piece, I think it's pretty much a continuation from last week. I think what we're seeing now is I think we're seeing the next stage in everybody starting to bottom out. And by bottom out, I mean everyone's trying to do these things now they think they need to do to fix themselves. And while they're working temporarily, I think we get a sense long term it's not going to be good. With Tulip, it's her not sleeping and continuing to go to that bar to make money, but more importantly, to get something, some level of satisfaction from putting on that Kevlar and getting shot. For Cassidy, it was the decision making of what he should do with Dennis, and we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Did not do spoiler up front, but what to do with Dennis. With Jesse, it's the constant search for God when he feels like no one else around him understands or appreciates it. With Puzzle Piece, and again, we'll talk about this in spare parts, what I loved about that is, even though it's rough the way it comes up in the date sequence with Harry Star, but the concept of having that puzzle piece, the idea of having that one thing that makes things different, that changes things, that sets a tone, that is the one little thing that you're looking for that gets you on your path. It's a fascinating one because everybody's looking for it. And Harry Star discovers it in a very interesting way, in a very interesting situation. But it's something that Harry Star has that Jesse, Tulip, and Cassidy are so desperately looking for, and something we need them all to individually find, which is something they can find by each of them working together. We need them to get back together because the Grail, as we see tonight, isn't your typical James Bond type of villain. Excuse me, isn't your typical James Bond type of villain. They're smart. And they're powerful, and they don't care, as we'll see. Okay, we'll move on to some spare parts. We start off with the most obvious, the flashback to Jesse Custer's dad, when he utters the line, "We Custers don't cry, we fight." It's been building all along. It builds as we see when Harry Star looks through Jesse Custer's file during the episode. There's just tons of nastiness, and if you know the graphic novel, you know tons of nastiness in Jesse's family's past. And you know they're doing just a really good job in building this, because we know it's just going to get nastier, we know it's just going to get uglier. And there's just so many ghosts and demons that Jesse hasn't even owned up to Tulip and Cassidy. They're going to come back to bite all three of them in the ass. Looks like we didn't need your help after all. Cassidy utters that to Jesse. Because Dennis is doing better. So it must be some kind of miracle, obviously. Could not be anything else. It must be some kind of miracle. So yeah, took 3 from a 44. Tulip, again, going about this thrill-seeking and injuring of herself to get some kind of level of satisfaction. She's not sleeping, which is not helping the situation because of what she's seeing when she sleeps. It's fascinating and it's interesting that, again, Jesse will choose to use Genesis to get Tulip to sleep. And we see Cassidy's reaction. And, okay, it's very interesting, Jesse, what you're willing to use that power for and what you're willing not to, when I came to you for help with my son. So, again, that growing, building animosity, growing and building. I have a date, kill them all. Harry Star just proving once again, he doesn't have time for nonsense. He has his agenda. If it doesn't fit his agenda, it's no harm, no foul. It just has to go away. The sequence when the Grail moves in for the attack. Start off first little joke that I used when I was doing the blog, but it's true. The Grail looks like if the X Games did these outfits for the Stormtroopers. That's probably the best way to put it. It was the only thing going on through my head when I saw them. Having said that, that entire sequence where we only were listening to them through communication and it went silent and just relying on the visuals for so long, that was painfully effective. The silence was creepy as hell, and I thought they did a really, really masterful job of that. They really did. Cassidy went full-on vampire. I mean, like, again, 10 on the vampire scale, 11 if we're using the Spinal Tap scale. It just was insane. And, spoiler, now we know why Dennis is doing so well. Because Cassidy decided to turn Dennis. And we'll be talking about Dennis in a minute, because I think we start to see already what our concerns are going to be about Dennis. Hairstar's date. I think a couple of interesting things that come out of this is something that we've thought all along that matches Hairstar up with our three heroes. When he says he's feeling disenchanted, again, I think that's something all four of them share. Again, and we're using the analogy of the puzzle piece, which his date brings up, and I'll talk about that in a second. It's that one thing. Each of them is looking for that one thing that makes their life, their journey, what they're doing mean something. The smile of an indigent half-wit. Wow. Hairstar does not care about your puzzle piece. He's fascinated by the concept, but he really does not care. If that whoever smiles, whoever was sweet to you, or anything like that, couldn't give a rat's ass about that. When he gets called away, he has his date doing this thing where she's holding her breath and putting butter under her chin, and you get the sense there was more that was going to be happening. I don't know what that was about, but that, again, probably one of the scarier things in this episode. I'm going to leave the tarp out, feel again, and it will be waiting. Again, no harm, no foul. For Hoover, for Featherstone, it's a matter of understanding. Like, look, you got to do your job. Hairstar is not going to hesitate. You two do your job. You're great. You're useful. You're going to be around. If you don't, it's no harm, no foul. Bullet to each of your heads, wrap you up in the tarp, and you're disposed of. Featherstone gets it. But I think Featherstone more than just gets it. We're getting a sense there's a lot more going on into what Featherstone's all about. If you're familiar with the Gragman novel, you get some sense. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. Again, I think there's going to be some more interesting things to Featherstone than we're realizing. Tulip, after being knocked out and told to go to sleep by Jesse wielding Genesis, she wakes up to find basically the Grail Strike team completely slaughtered and all around the house. Jesse's decided to create his own private security firm with the local police department by using Genesis to control everybody 24/7 because he is certain and sure that the Grail is going to lodge another attack. Again, we mentioned this before. Hairstar, again, is a man who is searching for something, anything, in any type of area in his life. And I think we see that as much as for some people it may be shocking, but I think we see it also when he's asking Featherstone and Hoover to get him some prostitutes. And he says, when he talks about no means yes type prostitutes. You know, again, this is and we see what the change in that is later on. But again, this is a guy who is open-minded and going to try things, but he wants some sense of truth, some sense of understanding, some sense of this is what this is. Not pretenders to the throne. You know, again, false idols, false prophets, and false gods. He has no time for that. But the truth, something that is right to him, that makes sense to him, that's something he can connect with. Not saying that's sane, not saying that's right, not saying that's not painfully narcissistic, but it is what it is. The Dennis problem. The problem with Dennis is this simple, and I think we see it in the episode, is, well, I think once Dennis has been turned, Dennis is wanting to relive the kid and teen years again. I don't think he's too interested in that whole only drink blood when you need to heal yourself thing. I think Dennis is really liking blood. I think he's liking his vitality. I think he's liking his want and ability to do whatever he wants. I think that was proven, if I remember correctly, and if I remember what my mom used to play, when he's blasting Edith Piaf, the hymn, which again must be like AC/DC or Metallica or Jay-Z, but when he's blasting that at the height of battle, you know, again, I think that speaks volumes. This is a guy who is going to embrace his new undead life and everything that comes with it, having spent Lord knows how long, progressively getting sicker and sicker. Dennis is going to be an issue, and I hope it doesn't end up being an issue that Cassidy ends up having to take care of permanently, because that would be heartbreaking. Jesse, I understand where he's going with, and he really emphasizes this with Tulip, but I think he also means it for himself and with Cassidy. This idea of, like, look, a good fight and a good battle is going to clear all of our heads, and it's going to get us all together, it's going to get us on the same page, it's going to get us moving forward. It's a band-aid and a bullet wound. They're still not addressing the respective issues that each of them is having individually, not opening up to the other person, not giving them the opportunity to see if they can help or just be a shoulder to lean on. You know, and again, I think this is a false hope that we'll see get squandered because, again, the Grail isn't your typical organization. If one way didn't work, they're going to go a different tactic. We talked before about Tulip and lack of sleep and her feeling guilt. I think the lack of sleep also factors into things. For example, I don't think fully awake, fully slept Tulip wouldn't see through the Jenny/Featherstone thing. But then again, you know, I think she would have issue with her willingness to so quickly lend her gun. But I think because tired and beaten down and weakened and looking to connect and bond with somebody, Tulip, she's going to be more accepting of things that I think she normally wouldn't be. Brad, battle-ready aerial drone. I gotta be honest with you, I thought Brad was going to be some big hulking thing. I actually thought Brad may have been the guy that the police end up taking down. But again, the Grail does not mess around. If tactical team isn't going to work, it's not like they're going to keep sending in tactical team. Hairstar, again, does not waste time. If that's not going to work, we're just going to precisionally drone strike you to oblivion so you don't have to be worried about it. So again, Brad. Do you like cats? It does make me feel good knowing that even somebody as powerful as Hairstar has to deal with pop-ups. I do think it's kind of weird that one pop-up also may have made the difference in the direction the series went, since it got the drone a little too close to Jesse, Tulip, and Cassidy than I think anybody wanted. But again, I did like that part. Hairstar, interesting to have the epiphany during his rape fantasy sequence. When the men show up and he complains and tries to send them away, saying he's looking for women, and they proceed to go ahead with having sex with him anyway. And you see through the machinations, it's still not something that's doing anything for him, but there is a revelation he has noticing Jesse Custer's file and a different way and a different tactic to approach this. So he calls off Brad. That's where the pop-up almost ends up causing an issue. I think it's a smart move. I'm glad, obviously, they didn't kill our main heroes. But Harry Connick Jr., seriously? Like, you really had to blow up and kill off Harry Connick Jr. Tom Cruise I was perfectly okay with. But Harry Connick Jr., hell, just as an American Idol judge, he did quality work. That was a little heartbreaking, I gotta be honest. I had a little bit of an issue with that. I'm Hairstar. I hear you've been looking for God. Perhaps I can help. Hairstar to Jesse in the bar at the end of the episode. If there was ever an instance of the devil in white walking up and making an offer for a man's soul, well, it was 99% of his soul, it would be that. What's interesting is, though, while I know he is approaching Jesse with a plan or an idea, I also get the impression that there's, and you see this throughout the episode, that there's a level of connection that Hairstar has with Jesse, especially when Jesse starts talking about the issue of that there needs to be some sense of order. We need to know who is in the throne, essentially, who is running things, who is the structure in place. I think that is something that's very similar to what Hairstar is looking for. Whatever that may be, it's got to be something that's structured and legitimate and something Hairstar can believe in, and in this case, Jesse can believe in. Again, I noticed last week, I find it interesting that Jesse is still praying to something that has abandoned its post. Again, I think that speaks volumes. I think in some ways maybe may reflect on Hairstar also. But we will see. Looks like tonight's episode is going to be very, very interesting. As I said, tonight we're going to be live vlogging episode 10, Dirty Little Secrets. Very curious to see what comes up. I'm wondering if the whole dirty secret between Cassidy and Tulip is going to rear its head. But we're definitely going to be seeing Hairstar tempting Jesse with the apple that is, getting the answers that he wants, and finding out what exactly is going on in the world. Okay, thank you guys very much. Thank you for hopefully enjoying this or getting a little something out of it. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if there's anything you want to add, anything I missed, don't hesitate, comment down below. Also, take a look at my social media contacts. They're there too. But otherwise, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you join me next week when I do my next video recap. And also, again, join me tonight at 9 o'clock. Actually, if you come the hour before, I usually post some pre-stuff up there. But definitely come in before 9 o'clock because we're going to be live blogging episode 10. So thank you guys, and I will see you then. Take care.